we go.
You've arrived at the Texas to Tennessee podcast, your home for your favorite independent artists and a couple of guys you've never heard of.
Who?
It was Texas, it was Tennessee. It was what I had coming to me. You were unlike anything.
Howdy, folks. You have arrived at the tech. Is it working?
There we go.
Can we start again?
It is.
The long fade out. Want to try it again?
Ready?
Go.
Oh, you want me to play it again? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Take two.
We get it right. We can just. It's easier to edit it on the front end. Just cut that part out.
You've arrived at the Texas to Tennessee podcast, your home for your favorite independent artists and a couple of guys you've never heard of.
Who?
It was Texas, it was Tennessee. It was what I had coming to me. You were unlike anything.
Well, that's why I was messing up on him. We'll wait on Steve to get back, but welcome into the Texas Tennessee podcast. Tonight we do have Steve. Apparently he's having technical difficulties. He'll be back in a second. But tonight's guest on the show is Mr. Curtis Grimes. Appreciate you taking the time, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me. We can fill in the space.
Yeah.
He's back online.
Who needed that guy anyways and all of his bits? But we'll go ahead and get to the introduction of Curtis while we wait on him to hop back on. Just for somebody that might not be familiar with you.
Welcome.
We'll circle back around, but go ahead and just introduce yourself for anybody that might not be familiar with you.
Well, I guess if I had to sum up everything for me, I was a failed baseball player. That was my passion, man. I wanted to pitch for the Rangers. I wanted to be Nolan Ryan. He was my hero. Yeah, he still is my hero, by the way. But I got a scholarship to go play college ball, and I did my best to mess that up. So wasn't too long after that where I spent a lot of time in the dorm room, and my roommate had a guitar, and that's when I started attempting to play guitar. I was freshman year of college, and I was in the whole Texas country scene, and this was like when Randy Rogers, Wade Bowen, Eli Young, those guys were first popping. And so that's the kind of music that I gravitated towards. And then the next year I moved down to San Marcos, where all the live action was, and went to as many shows at Green Hall as I could, and floated the river probably hundreds of times, and wound up in Austin and got my first gig at El Arroyo Mexican restaurant, happy hour. They're on 5th Street. And then I got a good gig over on 6th Street at Blind Pig. That's kind of where it all really, really started. And I won a radio contest over for Kenny Chesney, like few months after I started playing with the band, and then that kind of gave us a big splash. And 3 years after that, season 1 of The Voice, got to make it till there were 8 left. And, that's when I met a guy named Robert Philhart, who worked for ASCAP out in Nashville, and said, when this show's over, come to town. So that's how I got kind of beyond the Austin region local music scene there. And it's been a pretty wild ride. Been a pretty cool ride, and I still feel like a baseball player that screwed up an opportunity. So trying not to mess up this music thing, if you know what I mean. Understand.
What position in baseball were you shooting for?
I was a pitcher. Yeah, that was my thing. I still would say that's my best gift is pitching, but music's panned out pretty well, so I don't have any complaints.
Are you? It's got you sideways. Are you able to still somewhat show off the arm a little bit when it's time, or you know?
Funny, I'm probably in better playing shape now than I was at 19 years old, just because that's all I have to latch onto now. That's like the only athletic fix I can get these days, is just like at the gym or whatever. And now I have a little guy who's 6, so he plays baseball. We were actually at a game earlier, so yeah, I still get to mess around with it for fun now.
I got you. Well, we'll touch on a lot of that stuff. Are you good now, Steve? Is it
It's back vertical.
No,
Yeah, I don't
no,
know.
his Wi-Fi
Anyway, I
is
don't want to be
something.
sideways, so
Something's
I
being a
keep it
mess.
this way. Well, we like to start things
Yeah,
off
yeah,
with
yeah. Well, let's see if we can get through the. Yeah, let's see if we can get
was
through
pretty
the
good.
the quiz.
Questionable. All right. Well,
Maybe
is it? You want me to just hop out? All right, I will. See y'all.
you gotta love. I mean, he's in a nice part of town too. It's lagging real bad. Yeah. Okay. 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 All right. So we'll hop into Steve's. I know Steve's question. So we'll hop into that. We'll go to the musical pie. Um, and so this is we're gonna give you a pie. It is made up of four sections. All right.
Okay.
It is songwriting, performance, and then studio. Then, like you said, everything else that you have to deal with as an independent or a musician. Where booking, keeping the rig on the road and road ready and all those different things. Which one of those things is home for you?
Um,
The one
the
that's most natural fit.
the easiest aspect is probably the writing, but I've never felt like a great writer. I've always felt like as needed basis. But now that's the part that I probably enjoy the most because you hit a certain point when you start having kids and the being gone part is the biggest sacrifice and it's fun, it's awesome. um, but the writing stuff gets narrow the
Hmm.
older you get and kind of the more you do it, you kind of waste a lot less time crumpling papers. And it's one of those deals when something hits you, then you can go all in on it. And even co-writes now, like you write with guys that get it. You don't have to explain what kind of music you're trying to record, and it's just a lot more focused. So that's probably the easiest thing now. And I mean, of course, you're always gonna, or you should enjoy the live aspect and sharing that with each other.
Understand.
The writing right now is the part that I don't have to try as hard at anymore.
Well, as a a responsible adult or whatever you want to call it, with kids, you've got more to write about too, or at least different things to write about as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole nother different well of emotions that that are can be new with little ones.
It is, and I don't know, until you go through that, you might kind of have a little
Hmm.
bit on your shoulder as a consumer. When you're the guys you like start writing more of those sentimental songs and fewer of the partying songs. But once you experience it, then it makes sense, and you have that aha moment, right? So I remember
Hmm.
Pat today got a lot of flack for when his songs started changing. Well, then once you go through it and your songs start changing, but yeah, it makes a lot more sense and it fits. It would be weird if you were, 50, married with kids, and you're still writing the same stuff as when you're 19. Like that, just something would probably be a little bit off if that were the case.
Yeah, either you're not living that great, or you're I don't know, are just churning out songs that
Right? Yeah,
really aren't what you're living.
still, it's still
Um,
going to the glory days. Yeah.
well, I mean, we're probably all guilty of that, I guess. Well, you were talking about that. You were talking about the Rangers. Real quick on that. So I'm from the Memphis area. The closest team here is St. Louis. But my dad moved from here when I was I don't know 10 or so, and when he moved to Grand Prairie and then to Irving, and now he actually lives in Hawkins, which I know is not that far from your home area.
Not at all.
Um, uh, but when he moved out to the DFW area, we started going to Rangers games, and this was during the Ivan Rodriguez those days. What's his name? Buhner.
Yeah, Rusty Greer. You
Yeah,
had
Rusty Greer.
Juan
Yeah,
Gonzalez. Yeah, man, that's
one.
that.
Yep, that's when I.
That Exactly. That was the steroid days,
That's what I
man.
was going to say. That's when Jose
I'm
Canseco
balling.
was there for a bit.
Yeah, that was good times.
So yeah, so we had plenty of hot summer days in that ballpark. So
Yeah.
I didn't really have a team necessarily at that time. But when I started going to those games, I was a Rangers fan up and at least while we were going to those games. It made me pick that up for sure. And then eventually I started working in at a small radio station here in town, and was with Cardinals games, and that was during the McGuire Sosa
Oh yeah.
reign, and also
Peak
it
of
was
steroid era.
yeah, just the other part of it, right? And Jack Buck was on the radio, Jack Buck and Mike Shannon, and that made me fall in love with I love Jack Buck and Mike Shannon just as much as I love the Cardinals, just listening to them. But so anyway, that made me a baseball fan between those things, and been enjoying the season again this year. I kind of fell out of baseball for a while, but this year I've been watching a lot more.
Yeah.
Is that something you keep up with pretty heavy, or is it kind of come and go?
Honestly, I'm more of a sports center highlight highlight,
Understand
and
completely.
I watch the big games. I don't know. I would prefer college, probably the day to day Saturday things, just because. Well, up until the NIL thing, it's getting a little sideways now. But there for a while, it was there seemed to be more passion every single play, and then in the at the professional level, the seasons are so long, and the
It's a
money
lot.
started, and then it just seems like playoff times they just crank it up another notch. So I'll watch the big games, the big moments, and other than that, I just don't really have a lot of time to watch much TV. Man, I have a 2 year old, a 6 year old, and an 8 year old, and I've always just done. I've never bought into the whole like poor struggling musician thing. So I've always worked multiple jobs, done stuff during the week, just hustled. Like right now, we have 22 acres down here in San Antonio, and I got 3 goats about to pop out some babies. So I'm spraying fence rows today and mowing and making sure all my ducks in a row for that. And just got back from Nashville, actually. Got to play the Opry Monday. So it's been not much time to squeeze TV in there.
Yeah, yeah, baseball's a lot. Like you said, that's a whole lot of games to keep up with players and all of that stuff. It's I can't really do that either. Like as far as keeping up with that much, and when playoff time hits, it's definitely a better watch. But well, let's talk about that then. As far as the Nashville thing, we were going to make sure we talked about it anyway. Um, well, also I got off track with the pie question too.
Okay.
So let's go back to that. You said writing would be home these days. Writing would be home. Which one is that? Where you actually spend the most time as well?
Not really. Like
No.
I said, it really is on an as needed basis, or if something hits me, then it's easier for me to, because now you got the voice memos or like notes on your
Hmm.
phone, kind of get it down. I do a lot driving down the road. Voice memo, I'll probably have 100 voice
Is
memos.
that when it comes to you the most?
It does
Hmm.
really. Now I'll get home when I get a chance to get with the guitar and figure out melody stuff and just listen to that voice memo, lock in and finish it. And I was never good at the 10 a.m. Tuesday at BMI right style.
Hmm.
I just felt like I didn't do great at college, like the formal setting.
Gotcha.
Uh, and those co-writes felt like I was in a little room at a library in a college, and that's not a creative space for me. And I actually lived after I got married. We moved to Nashville. I thought I would write more. Right? I thought
Hmm.
like, but it was then that just became home, and I was flying back and forth for shows, and I was just like after we had a baby, I'm like, this is pointless. Let's just go back to Texas. I'll come out here when I need to write or record or do it, handle business side of things. But no, I've never been disciplined writing. Just kind of as it comes as needed. And then like I have a session coming up in May. So if I'm like, hey, snap, I need 3 more songs, I better start writing. and then procrastination is key for me apparently. So that's how it
You
works.
seem you buckle down more under the pressure
That's
when a date's
right.
coming up
Closer
on you.
mentality, man. Closer mentality. That's exactly what.
I guess some parts of it never change, right? So,
That's
uh,
right.
um, well, let's talk about the Opry thing. That's something. When I asked you about joining this, you had coming up. That was your first time playing the Grand Ole Opry.
It was. So this is how that happened. There's an entity called the Inspirational Country Music Association,
Okay.
and a few years back, I had a song called "Born to Die" that we didn't even really push beyond kind of the Texas regional radio reporting stations, but I guess the other stations picked it up and played it, and so it went number one on what would be a national power source chart. And so I got invited to the award show, and that's where I met all the folks at the ICMAs. And then the lady that kind of runs it right now, kind of passing the baton to her daughter at the moment. But Diane asked if I wanted to sing at the award show. They were going to have it at the Opry. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, absolutely, never been there. Never really been given the time of day. So this is cool. Didn't happen. Either I don't know if it's COVID stuff. Then I think her dad passed. And so it's one of those dang moments. Early this year, she reached out to me. They were finally having the awards show at the Opry. And she honored um, her, I guess, offer to allow me to sing. So that's how I kind of got slid in the back door of that scenario. But it was awesome, man. It was cool. That's a just full of nostalgia kind of place. And to me, hanging out in the backstage area, going and seeing all the little plaques in the rooms, and then even more so having my family, my little kids back there in
Mm-hmm.
the dressing room when you're, running through your song. That was probably just as cool, if not cooler, than the circle in singing in the circle moment. But when I went out there, dude, I was like, this is my first time here. I'm gonna slow down, take my time, and suck
Okay.
up a second, and just kind of shared the story behind the song. And then I had to play with the house band, which they're phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And through one quick rehearsal, maybe 10 minutes max, kind of talking through a couple parts. That was it. Walked on stage and they crushed it, man. They did a really good job. And it happens. It's one of those things, man. You're there and then it's done. It goes so fast. But it was
Did,
cool.
did you have anybody that your buddies or anybody in the business to talk to as far as knowing what to expect, or you just kind of went into it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like having a kid. Everybody can kind of tell you how cool it is, but
Understand?
to experience it, I mean, like I was nervous. Like I don't. It's been a long. It's probably been since The Voice that I was nervous going and singing. Where you're like,
Mm-hmm.
your voice is kind of a little cracking. Um, so I was definitely nervous for the first time in a long time. But it's just as much adrenaline and butterflies that you can kind of use to give you a little umph too when you're singing. So there definitely was that going on. And my family, mom, dad, all my aunts, uncles, and several friends came out and were there. So it was cool to have a lot of people from Texas that flew or drove to come out there and celebrate. Is kind of how I would say it
Mm-hmm.
with me.
Yeah, we've had a handful of people that have been on the podcast that got to share their stories about going on the Opry, and it can, um, with a lot of old school country fans, Nashville in general can have like this stigma to it, and like maybe the Opry doesn't mean what it used to mean, or the Ryman doesn't mean what it used to mean, or whatever. All these different opinions that people can have. But what I try to share is like you talk to the artists that get a chance to go play there, and tell them it doesn't it doesn't mean what share your opinion with those guys and see how that story goes, because it you can tell it's still an honor and a privilege to be you know, like you said, just there to have, you know, to have the name on the parking space and to hang out backstage and to play with the band, or to be in the circle or whatever the case would be. It's obviously still a special thing.
I'll bet you none of those that have critical things to say about it would turn down the opportunity to sing it. They were
They
getting.
they probably wouldn't have. They probably wouldn't turn down the opportunity to go as a fan. You know what I mean? That those are things that's easy to say behind the keyboard. You know,
Yeah,
but if someone were to actually get them in the seats at the Opry and they get to see, you know, even just a standard weeknight Opry show,
yeah.
you know, they would you can't help but enjoy it. You know, because they seem to do it right.
You're right. You're right. The first time I got to go was back when I was with a management group out there, and one of our artists, Charlie Worsham, to be exact,
Okay.
was making his opera debut, and Carrie Underwood was there, Oak Ridge Boys, and so I got to go backstage and kind of view it from behind the curtain, and it was just like, wow. It was pretty incredible, just like the aura about the place, and like I still personally don't appreciate how the Hank Williams treatment to this day.
I
So like
understand.
I can have my own things to say negative about, but like that's not going to keep me from going and appreciating it, for what it is,
Well, whoever is in charge in the past, you know, handful of years, clearly has like things are different. You know, there's all kinds of if it wasn't different, then the guys like I was talking about, like Jason Eady, Adam Hood, those folks wouldn't have had the chance to play there. So I don't know who is in charge, and I don't know what's different, but something clearly is. I mean, Co Wetzel wouldn't have been on the Opry in the past. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different people between, you know, you and Randy Rogers and all, you know, tons of people have played the Opry, and you can like I said, you can tell it means a ton, and I am glad that whoever is making those decisions is giving uh, even the independent guys some shine like that.
That's right.
Um, all right. Well, let's see, where do I want to go from there? The voice thing. I didn't realize it was season one, to be honest. Um, so that was, you really didn't have near as, like, now it's pretty common to have these shows like that where you can go on the, I guess you call it competition shows or whatever, but that was fairly early on. There wasn't a whole lot of things to base it off of, and clearly you seem to. It seems like you look back on that, you know, as a good thing, as far as just another one of your highlights along the way.
For sure. And it was a huge step on the ladder. And that's really what got me out of just that Texas regional act. And later you find out kind of all the information. So they scout out before they go into each market, right? So they kind of do their homework, look for talent, and like they give you an appointment. Like I didn't have to wait in a long line. I got like 10 a.m. Friday, like be there. And then you go in and do your songs. And they had actually scouted out from The Voice. I don't know how they did the research. This guy won The Voice in Austin, so they reached out to us. Um, and then once you do that audition slot, I had to come back the next day and do another audition. And then they give you a piece of paper like, "Hey, we'll put your information in the system. Like, if you don't hear from us, we might reach out another season." And then like probably 3 weeks later, I get a call from a random number. We're like on a show. We're on our way to a random show,
Hmm.
and it was a voice. We're like, "Hey, we're gonna fly you to LA in 2 weeks," and pretty much you had to cancel like 3 months of your life. So that was the sacrifice. Was there's no guarantee you're even gonna get on TV, but like you need to allow 3 months for the whole, pretty much cancel everything for 3 months. So that was not everybody's in the position where they can do that,
Hmm.
and say even further in my career when I like needed this money to spin the wheel by playing shows and all this stuff, it would have been harder to cancel 3 months worth of income. But I mean, when you're making still making $35 a show, 150, 30, your bar tab's more than you pay. Like it wasn't too much of a financial
I
risk.
understand.
It was opportunity cost of benefit.
Uh,
So once I flew out there, there's still 2 more rounds of cut. So you do that, and the only negative, it was an awesome experience. I have one complaint: they would not allow me to pick my songs. They assign you songs.
okay.
So that's why the first song they assigned me was "Hillbilly Bone," Blake Shelton, and I started, and they're like, "What? You don't like that song?" You know, I was like, "No." I was like, "But if y'all want me to do a Blake Shelton song, can I at least pick like Austin?"
Right.
Something besides "Hillbilly Bone" for a vocal singing contest. And next one, "Need You Now," Laney Antebellum. Not at all my style of singing. You know,
Right.
I'm Jackson, George Strait. Like that was
Mhm.
kind of what I auditioned with. Next song was "Addicted to Love," like Throwing It Back. And I'm just like, I don't even know this song. I think I heard it on a commercial before or something. And then finally, the round I got kicked off, they let me sing. I was going to be able to sing "Colder Weather" is when that song was out,
Okay.
and that's the only song of the list. You know, they send you a list of the approved songs and say pick your top 5. So it was one of
Okay.
my top. But that was the only knock, and I mean, thankfully it worked out. But you just would have preferred to be like do songs in your wheelhouse,
In
you
your
know.
wheelhouse, yeah.
But no, you learn too that they don't know you anything. Like you're using them for exposure. They're using you to make a show. Like they're not there to make you a star. They're there to make a hit show.
Hmm.
And once you kind of get to the other side of it and look back, they're like, oh, if I were to go back, I would do things different. You know, I'd have a different attitude. I would have like probably, you know, try to at least have a better case for trying to sing a different song. And other artists got to change their songs, and some of those artists went on to win their teams and make. So you're like, you know, you don't want to say nothing bad, but you're like, some people get put in a better spot than others. But once again,
It's a
they're not
TV show.
they're not there to make you a star. They're there to make a hit TV show, and you get the opportunity, a priceless opportunity. You know, because like any FaceTime is at that time was $1 million time slot. Now it's probably $9 million for a 30-second, you know, FaceTime on NBC.
And it
So
was bigger then than it is now.
that's right. They knocked American Idol off the top for sure. That was American Idol was a big dog, and that they they ended up going off air and then they came back.
Yeah.
But no, it was a hit. And Mark Burnett, coolest thing aside from just you're locked in a hotel room for, you know, a couple months, and so you musicians, everybody's gonna assemble and, you know, kumbaya moment. So you do a little song circle, and I might play a song on acoustic. This person might be on a piano or a little keyboard. Next person might be just singing, and that, like, it was cool. It was a cool little vibe going with up and coming artists from all over the country. And also there were people from a girl who the only time she'd sing was a talent contest in high school, all the way up to folks that had multiple major label deals. So it was all different,
Hmm.
I guess, seasons of a career, and just all different types of music. But the thing that probably stuck out to me the most was Mark Burnett. That dude, first off, he would roll up in his parking spot and be like Rolls Royce, be like Beamer, Benz, like whatever other expensive car. I don't even know them all. But dude had a brand new, different luxury sports car every day. But he was ground level, man. He was walking around like he'd come up to all the tests and talk, "Hey, what's up, Curtis? How you doing, man? I like that song you did last week. We're gonna try to do something different with the wardrobe this week." Like, just like engaging on the ground. Even the day they shoot, I guess I don't know. I expected him to be like up in the
Hmm.
box in the trailer, but no, that dude was walking around talking to everybody, engaging with everyone, and that was cool. And I think that's probably has something to say with why he is so successful as a producer,
Right.
because he gets it. He understands that at the end of the day, it's still people, even though they're making a show, and that just leadership skills to the max was that stuck out to me. I thought that was pretty cool.
No, that's leadership skills that goes back to from even musicians with big time musicians with that have a band leader that that can be a certain be like you need to be, or a corporation or a factory or a job site, or what I mean, anything like that, as far as that kind of hands on and being person being good at your job and being personable, I'm sure is I guess I mean that's something that would lead to success in just about anything that you're trying to do. So
Absolutely.
um,
One more fun fact for you.
uh
So once you hit a certain round at the show, they assign you an original song. Original song means just like hadn't been released yet.
okay,
I go in this little room, and they're like, that's where I met Robert Philhart, ASCAP. And they go, for your original song round, we're going to have you do a song called Grandpa's Farm by, it's written by a guy named Adam Hood. And I, what? Because I had played a lot with Adam. Like he was playing on 6th Street at this place called Peckerheads, and like back when he would do like the 4 or 5 hour sets.
okay.
And I knew we were pretty good friends at this time. Played several times, and so I thought that was pretty wild that I'm in LA doing this rigmarole and they assigned me an Adam Hood song.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we've joked about renaming the podcast to 7 Degrees of Adam Hood, because he seems to come up on every single episode somehow, whether we do it or the guest does it. Do you remember what song you auditioned with?
I auditioned with one of my songs I had written. I
Okay.
mean, looking back at that phase, probably wasn't very good. I don't even like I didn't have anything great. I don't believe. And then I probably Clay Walker, or Alan Jackson, or George Strait. I mean, it would have had to have been something in that vein, because I thought it was a singing contest. So I was like, all right, song I felt like I could imitate pretty well.
I understand. All right. Well, we'll get to your song now. We're at halftime. Give me a little rundown on that's what Cowboys do.
That was, believe it or not, the very first time I ever went to Nashville on behalf of Mr. Philhart, I keep referring to, and he set me up a few co-writes that week and introduced me to a few folks at the publishing companies on Music Row. And first co-write was with a guy named Trent Willman, and that of course I was familiar with him, and that's when he had songs on the radio, so I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was cool. And we wrote this song, and at the time I didn't have a 5-year-old son that was into bull riding and cowboy stuff, or a little ranch outside of San Antonio to tinker on, so it wasn't as relevant as it is now. And it's funny, there have been a couple of times over the years where old songs came back around and I cut on newer albums. And so this is going to be our next single we put out, and I probably wrote it in, it would have had to been like 2012, 2013, something.
Okay.
And Trent, not only did I get to write with him that trip, then he was also producing all the albums for this management group that I was with. And so through the process, I got to write with him a lot. And I don't think as many people realize how great of a songwriter he is, right? He's an artist, obviously. He's produced at the highest level. I mean, him and Cody won Album of the Year, a couple years ago. But he is one of the best songwriters in that town. And he took me from little baby amateur, like weak lines, to really, really develop me as a writer just by being in the room with those cats and trying to fight for a word, trying to fight for a line. And
Okay.
Trent will write like this, man. He won't say nothing for about 10 minutes. And he'll say, what do you think about this? It's just gold, man. It's solid gold. And I can listen to Cody's album, or just listen through songs.
Okay.
like, yeah, Trent was a writer on that song. He
You can
just,
you can tell where
yeah,
his input is.
for sure. It's just deeper. It's more descriptive. It's outside of the box. It's not obvious, and it's those things like there's a line in a song we wrote called "Right About Now," and the bridge goes, "If you think she's out to do you wrong, you just might be correct, because she drew a line and you crossed it. Now you got yourself an ex." Like that one takes a minute to think about.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to be like, all right, she drew a line, you crossed it, right? Like,
You gotta like
now you got yourself
map it out.
physically and metaphorically speaking, like just that next level of stuff that borderline genius thought process. I don't know. That's kind of beyond my pay grade. I'm a little more simple than that, you know.
Well, all right, sounds good. We'll give That's What Cowboys Do a listen. If you would hit that microphone button, I'll throw up a picture so you'll have a couple minute break, and we'll give this a listen and be right back.
'Cause that's what cowboys do. You can see it in his smile, bigger than a Rocky Mountain sky. It's the little things that make him sing, larger than life, set in his ways. You can take it to the bank, he'll always be the same, and that's the truth. 'Cause that's what cowboys do.
All right, good stuff, man. I'm always curious, and so I like to ask this question. You know, like I know most musicians and most artists don't sit there and listen to their music very often. You know, except for when you have to, especially after it's recorded and you've done your part. But when you had to sit there and listen to that, what are you thinking about? Are you nitpicking it apart? Are you remembering moments in the studio, or what comes to mind?
You know, it's funny how the different ways that we play songs live now.
Okay.
Like, I guess you just kind of tweak it a little bit, and then over time, you kind of get it dialed in. And maybe that's, oh, I wish I would have done this different. I don't know if that's some things. Like, we'll pick up the tempo a little bit on some of them just because they can lag in a live setting. But I produce all my stuff now. Probably the last 3 albums, I just kind of like got to a point to where like I knew exactly what I wanted, and I learned so much, like I say, from Trent, writing and producing stuff, that like you just kind of know what you like. And then it got to a point where I'd send it to him and be like, hey, is this good? So I was like, well, I guess if I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyways and then just bounce it up of you, I might as well just do it all. And so like it's my band guys get hosed because I know every little note, every little detail. Like they can't get away with with missing something, because like you spend so much time with it during the mixing phase, and like, you know, I'm talking about half dB up, half dB down. Oh, that part right there, let's we're going to use the guitar part over there. Like it's an assembled piece, you know. Even like there will be times where a guitar part like that was coming in from the first second verse that built, and I'm like, dang, that would build into the solo better, so then you can use that guitar part over there. So by the time it gets done, like I know where every little note is. And so if we're playing a show and my guys throw something or don't do something, like it sticks out like a sore thumb to me. So it's not fair to them that that I know exactly what everything's supposed to be. But no, that's what I noticed when I listen back is how different we do some of the parts live versus the studio album.
Because that would have been over a year ago when that was
Right.
recorded, right? Yeah.
Well, then for me, I spent about 3 years. What I got to now was I would go in February and cut 4 songs. That's a session, so you're not in it. So we do a session in an hour, so it's plenty of time to do 4 songs where you're not rushing, and it gives me a year before I have to write or pull or find whatever best 4 songs that I just love. And that worked. I feel like that's a better way to do it than just like trying to come up with 10 like now, or you know, up until that point. So you got to kind of spread it out, and also like financially spread it out. So by the
Yeah.
time it was paid for. You know, I paid the invoices off, you know, by the time that thing rolled around. So then you're not sweating like, crap, I have to sell this many records or blah, blah, blah to pay it back. Like, no, it was black from the day it was released in the black. So that process works really well for me. And it's a good pace. And so, yeah, by the time it was done to release, you're right, you're sitting on it for a year. And then it's old news. Then you want to play.
You moved
By the time
on.
you want people to hear the new songs you just wrote last week. So that's all.
Understand. That's the way that seems to go.
Yeah.
Um, do you think you mentioned the guys that are I'm assuming you were meaning the guys that play that at your shows are guys that played on it on the recording? Is that what you were meaning?
No, different. So I
Oh,
have
okay, okay,
even from that first, we'll say, real deal legit album I recorded was with an engineer named Bart Bush and Trent
okay.
produced. And like I have another session in May, and I was still using Bart as engineer. And most of the musicians, maybe one, is different from the same crew that I use. And it's one of those like, if it's not broke, don't fix it things.
Gotcha.
And I mean, and thankfully I got some good cats on it. Like fiddle has been Janae Fleener. I mean, she's playing with George now. ACM fiddle here, all the work. So like, I really got lucky. It was a blessing to be plugged in with like some of the top dogs in town early on that I've been able to still maintain over the years. That other people, you know, that's other people don't get that opportunity,
Right.
and that's something that is definitely a blessing. So I'm going to take advantage of that as long as I can. And then of course my band typically is based out of Texas. So these are cats travel on the road with me that are playing those songs. But yeah, that's how it's been for me is Nashville folks recording and then my band guys playing them live.
And you seem to, I mean, best I could tell, you still like to put out an album. Is that is that intentional? I mean, these days, you know, there's I mean, I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer to this, but a lot of folks, you know, it's probably because it's so expensive to do so, are doing, you know, singles and EPs. But you know, you have mostly albums out. Is that something you like are head set on doing, or is that why does that happen like that?
Probably I'm not very good at playing the current music game.
Okay, understand. I mean, personally, I like it, but you know, it's not my money, so
There's something about an album that just feels like whole, complete. And I was able to at least still pump out singles to radio, you know, because I recorded 4 at a time, so I could still put singles up. And I mean, there are even some
I
singles
got
in
you.
the album. So it's kind of I halfway played both games. I don't know
I think a lot of people would like to do what you're doing if they were able to do that.
if everybody was aware of that option to just cut for a year. And then after 3 years, you know, use your singles as needed. And then after 4 years, you could have 12 songs and 10 of those for an album. I think, and now I don't know if it's worth it because, you know, you put out an album a week later, it's old news. They want a new single. So I don't know if it's practical, but that's probably the best way to do it without getting 20 grand, whatever it is in the hole, um, sitting on the album. But no,
Well,
I think if you want to be relevant on all the things, the Spotify's and the streamings, that like you're supposed to be putting out something every 30 to 60 days, whatever it is. I don't know. We'll see. I should probably get better about that. The goal is with these, we're doing 8 songs in kind of a different scenario now, but we're doing 8 songs in May. And I think we are going to do that waterfall deal where you put out a song, then you put out that song and another song, and then those 3, and then an EP. And supposedly that kicks up your algorithm stuff, but I don't know. That ain't it. I do it.
well, I mean,
I pay my bills by working, and, and then music is fun.
I,
And I don't have the stress breathing down my back. I I own everything and kind of do everything how I want, when I want. And so if it works, cool. If it works, great, better. If it doesn't work, I'm still good.
Well, that really does kind of lead into another question that I like to ask, and I'd like to know. I'd like to hear your answer to it. If and I know the answer would probably have been different 10 years ago from what it is now. But if I say, Curtis, you've made it, what does that mean to you? What is making it to you?
So I used to think of success from a worldly perspective, right? So I was like, if I'm going to do this, I want major label deal. I want a bus. I want millions of dollars in the bank and number ones at radio. Well, somewhere along the way, I started seeing common denominators of guys that had all of those things. And I mean, some of them just did not look like they were in a good spot in life.
Okay.
And so I start thinking, like what I thought that was the goal, and then like, that's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? Like, maybe I don't want to go down that road. And then stuff started, I kind of dove into that lifestyle. I was like, oh, if you sing and play music, like that, this is how you live. This is what you do. And man, my really good friend killed himself driving home drunk from a concert. And then another thing happened where our athletic director's daughter at my high school was killed by another kid that graduated year before on graduation night. Same thing.
Mm.
And so those things are just eye opening. And then you're like, man, like, what kind of songs am I writing? I when you're writing songs that kind of would encourage someone to live that lifestyle, like in I was at the time, obviously, it was just eye opening and convicting in a lot of things. Like, I needed to sober up. I needed to get my priorities in check. Needed to definitely get back into church, get back in the Word, get back to Jesus. And that, combined with a lot of the stuff I was seeing from artists that were doing what I thought I wanted to do, it got to the point where I was like, if that's what it takes and if that's what it comes to, like, I don't want to do that. And so then I was like, well, maybe I'll just go sing music at a church or something, like that was kind of my knee jerk reaction, was just like, get out of the environment. And then it was like very clear, man. I was like, nope, like God's like, this is where I have you. So whatever you think you're going to do there, just do here. Like, that's where people probably need to hear what you have to say the most. And so that was kind of what was a turning point for me to start writing more positive, more encouraging songs. Testimonials can definitely be beneficial, even though you're hitting on some things. But that's kind of, and then of course, when I brought this up to this management company I keep referring to, that was short lived, because about 3 months after that, I got dropped I was with Paradigm Booking Agency, had the management deal in place, had a publishing deal, all this stuff in Nashville, and I was let go, and it sucked at the time, just to be honest. And looking back though, you're like, man, you got kind of released from any control or any, giving up rights and royalties,
Okay.
all that stuff, and a blank palette to do whatever you want, how you want to do it. Now, it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed success at like that. That doesn't mean that you're even going to be doing music professionally anymore.
But you're not in a hole.
That's right. Whatever
Yeah.
you want to write, whatever you want to record, whatever you want to release, like, there's nobody that can influence that. And it was the best thing to happen to me, because what it did is allow me to do exactly what I want, how I want. And I already wasn't like banking on music to, like, if I don't make it, I've failed in life. It was just kind of an opportunity I was rolling with until I got a big boy job, like that was really my, like, dang it, I screwed up baseball. Now, like, music's kind of popping. Let's see what happens. So there, it was never like this, oh no, it was like, well, crap, I guess I'll just go work and play for fun. But it never got to that point. Like, yes, some doors closed, but other doors opened. Other opportunities came along that were pretty cool in a different way. Radio kept playing me. Most venues kept
Hmm.
booking it. And
That's cool.
like it was, I didn't get near the negative backlash, honestly, that I thought might come with kind of taking a hard right. And I never wanted to be like a Christian artist. I never wanted to like go down that road, because it's not the kind of stuff I want to write. I just want to write songs that, in my opinion, try to put someone in a better spot after they listen to it than a worse spot. And I have plenty of those out, like my older stuff, believe me. And I don't know, personally, the things that happened that just rocked my world and opened my eyes, made me want to put out music that would try to encourage someone to do a little better, be a little straighter, a little bit more conscious of bad choices.
Well, I mean, one thing about hearing you say that, and then going and listen to your music, you can tell that you are writing uh, what am I trying to say? You're not just throwing stuff at the wall, trying to piece together just any song. You know what I mean? You kind of have a direction you want to try to go, if that makes sense.
For sure. And I'll give you an example of the last song I wrote was a song called "Wheelchairs in Heaven." I was doing an event for a guy, Tommy Mauser, radio guy. It was at a church, and there was a girl there in a wheelchair, and I'd seen her before. Her grandma's kind of her caretaker and brings her to a bunch of concerts and stuff. So I was talking with them afterwards and took a picture with her. And when I was going to leave, her grandma said, "Will you write a song for Lexi called Wheelchairs in Heaven?" And so I was like, "Yes, ma'am, absolutely. I will do my best." Next morning, I get up, go for a little jog around the little block by the hotel. Like 30 minutes later, I had a song, man. And that's how it's been lately. Just this something on my heart, and then it's easy. Like those songs are pretty easy to write. But yeah, it's definitely for a purpose. Like I don't have any desire to just write a cool hook and melody and something. I don't write to try to get a song played on radio or
Yeah.
to sell album. But I just say, okay, this song means a lot to me. Probably a lot of people can relate to it and go. And people tend to gravitate towards those songs for better reasons than just shallow listening songs. So it's kind of the trade off of commercial appeal to like songs that are going to last forever.
Understand? I mean, I'm sure you're fans of songs like that. You know what I mean? That have
For
stood the
sure.
test of time.
Dude,
Uh,
growing up, you always liked those, man. Always your Kenny Chesney's, like The Good Stuff, or
gotcha.
There Goes My Life. Those Craig Wiseman, just deep cuts. That's Why I'm Here. Kenny cut a lot of those type of sentimental songs. That's why I'm saying those. But
Right.
I don't know. I did always appreciate those growing up, and now those tend to be more like the kinds that I'm writing.
Understand. Well, we'll real quick, and we'll get to a couple rapid fires. Have you had very many folks come up to you, especially since this kind of shift in direction, come up to you at your shows and kind of, meet you at the merch table or whatever, and tell you what those songs mean to you, or give you stories or testimonials that I mean, it's one thing to see them online, but it's another for folks to be able to tell you in person
Every time, every night,
every time.
at least one every show, and that's my favorite part of the night. I guess going back to the baseball days, like I'm not a fan of all the stuff before a show. Like I don't want to do meet and greets before the show. Like I will, but like I'm locked in, man. I'm trying to get ready to go do the
Okay.
thing. Afterwards though, like we always go out and hang out. And that's probably my favorite part of the gigs, the things, is the after the show moments where we're out at the merch table or just hanging out with folks, and just engaging. So Yes, it happens every night, and that's my favorite part of this deal these days.
and let you know your confirmation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, good stuff, man. I really appreciate the stories. Let's not some not so serious rapid fire questions, and,
All right.
and we'll get you out of here. All right. So if you could start a podcast tomorrow, a musical podcast, alive or dead, who do you want to pick their brain?
Elvis, man.
Really?
Elvis. And you know what's funny? So I work with the bull teams only. Wilo Ranch, that's what that is. They do bull riding events, and I get to book the music. I get to book the bands for the concerts, and we booked T.G. Shepherd for our bull riding in Grandview in May, and I get to be a chauffeur. And I was kind of I know like of him. Like I don't know a whole lot of his music, but I know like his face and like the
Right.
Nashville. Like I know who he is. So I was trying to do my homework so I didn't sound like an idiot when I'm driving around. And like the first thing I see is like him telling a story about being at the skating rink and Elvis's posse came and kicked him out. And Elvis is like, "Hey kid, come hang out with us." And then he like lived at Graceland. He's like best friends with Elvis. So hopefully I'll get to at least get some kind of cool Elvis things. But he was like not from the King rock star thing. Like he's just an interesting guy because the more you learn about him, like the human, the guy, you know, behind the camera, off scene, like he's just a crazy like position to be in. And then you hear a story about like he got in a fight one time and like broke the guy because he took karate at like, you know, middle of the night. And like then he had like he framed the dude's broken whatever it was because it's like, oh, my engagement with the real world, like just crazy things that you don't think about. You know, you think about the rock star, but you're like, man, this dude couldn't do anything. Everything he had to do is like between, you know, midnight and 6 a.m. Like, how do you even fathom what that
I mean,
what that is?
He had Jerry Lee ramming the gates at Graceland one night. That would be a story. And then, like when he there's, I hope I'm telling this about right, but it's basically he met Nixon, right, and he went in full outfit, you know, full white sequin stuff, and Nixon made a comment about his jumpsuit, and he's like, "You got your show to do. I got mine. I got mine." You know, just yeah, there would be. Talking to him and some of the folks that were along for the ride would
Yeah.
definitely would be interesting. And as a Memphis guy, I second that one. All right. Let's see. I got lost. That's a good one. We haven't had that one before. If you could have similar question, but if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would you be having dinner with, and what would you be eating?
Dinner with anybody. We'll keep it secular because I always say Jesus, but like that's we'll keep it secular.
We've had that answer before.
That would be cool. Like to me that would just be. I think would go a lot different than people super religiously churchy people might think it would go. I think it would be a lot more human engagement than churchy. But
More regular conversation.
I do. I think he's probably the coolest dude that ever existed from in every way. Like I really believe that. But let's go just like secular perspective. Man, like I said Nolan Ryan earlier. That how I want to hang out with him for a day. Just so Nolan Ryan. That one might be doable. But
Yeah, that
that's
one's that. Yeah,
of all the celebrity and figures, like he's cool to me. He's like he's cool.
just don't charge the mound. You'll be
I
fine.
know, right? That's part of it. That's the stigma. Like, just I don't know, all of it. Just feel like,
No,
man,
I had those baseball cards too. You know what I mean? Like anytime I got one of those Nolan Ryans or any of the cards, I had like a whole set that was all Nolan Ryans. Like I don't know who made not anybody that was worth anything, but it had the bloody nose
right?
Robin
Yeah.
Ventura run. All right, man. I appreciate the time. This is the last and final question. It started off as a joke on episode 1, and we are still rolling with this question. So, and the world needs to know. This is the most popular question. They need to know, what is your favorite Little Debbie snack?
Zebra cakes.
Okay. All
Zebra
right.
cake.
Sounds good. Sounds good. That's a popular it's a popular answer.
I probably thought about that too much before, but yeah, man, that's if I had to pick one. If it was my last meal because I got popped for something I done in the past, then yeah, I'll go with Little Debbie's.
If you were gonna eat a if you were gonna eat a Little Debbie cake with Jesus, which one would it be? Right, little zebra cakes, right?
Zebra cake.
All right, man. That sounds good. Make sure y'all go follow Curtis on all of his socials, Instagram, and wherever you listen to your music. Too. Make sure you hit the follow button on Spotify, Apple, wherever it is. Also, we try to remind people, life gets busy, but when folks are in your area playing music, independent guys, make sure you go check out a show. Go say hey at the merch table, and I guarantee you won't regret that. So, huh?
I
All right,
appreciate you having me, man. Thanks again for the reminder, so I didn't stand you guys up.
no problem at all.
Give you a little spur.